Good afternoon. Hey, welcome to my show. All right, thank you for coming out here to a show that's free. I think that's why most of you guys came, especially the Dutch people who I know are in the audience. Dutch people, let's make some noise. Hey, yeah. Watch out, Scotland, we're coming. Thank you. I know my show has no reviews yet. I have no TV appearances in the Netherlands or in Scotland, so nobody of you knows me. And hopefully, at the end of the show, you will know me and you think I'm good. All right. Also, as you have noticed, there's a big fucking camera in the room today. I'm gonna record it and send it to Netflix. Hope they'll like it. I'm just gonna look at it later and see what I don't know what I'm gonna do with the video yet. Put it on YouTube, Vimeo, Pornhub. I don't know. All right. Okay. Sorry, I'm getting off track. Before I always start the show properly, I'd like to introduce myself properly, because my name is Jeroen Bloemhoff. Because I know a lot of you people have been wondering how the hell do you pronounce a name that's on the flyer. Because it's a very Dutch name, so the Dutch people would know, but people who are not from the Netherlands didn't know. So we have Netherlands in, Scottish people, anywhere? Woo, just a few. All right, English people?
Yeah.
Yeah, do we have anywhere from others, UK, outside the UK or the Netherlands? Other countries? India? Well, that's a long journey you have to make. Alright, so that's pretty much it. It has been my crowd pretty much the entire thing. Just England, Scotland, and some Dutch. So that's good. It's the rainy trio. That's kind of what we're going for. Because since for me coming to the Fringe, to Scotland, I always have to adapt to a few things. First of all, the weirdest thing that for me is, in here I have to get on my knees to get money. Because your ATMs are so low, I actually just have to, yeah. Also, there's a drink in the supermarkets I don't get. It's called Iron Brew. The Scottish guy, I already hear laughter. Because on the label it says that the taste is so unique, we can't possibly describe it. Which, first of all, is just really lazy marketing. And second of all, I still haven't bought it because I have no idea what it tastes like, so I have no idea if I will like it or not. So that's not very smart. And another thing in the supermarkets here is that whenever I'm in a supermarket, a lot of people come up to me and ask me if I can grab something for them from the top shelf. Which I'm fine with, actually. But I get really annoyed when others get angry at me when I ask midgets to... Because I think it's a good system. Let's help each other, right? Tall people, top shelf. Midgets, bottom shelf. Frozen food section, your ex-girlfriend. Help each other. But I would understand that the midget would get angry, because I'm also very insecure about my own height. Because I'm 1.99 m. Just almost 2 meters, but not quite. And ladies, you know how much difference 1 centimeter can make, right? Yeah. That's a joke out there for the people using the metric systems. But I was very nervous when I had to extend my passport, because I knew they were going to ask for my height. But I also thought to myself, you know what? This is my chance to officially be 2 meters. Mr. Bloemhoff, it says here that you're 1.93 m. Is that still correct? No. No, that's not correct anymore. No. It's 1.99 m now. I'm like, fuck! Because I could have been 2 meters. Because you just wrote it down without checking in an official document. I could have been 3 meters for all they care. And then how amazing would it be going through life claiming you're 3 meters tall? People don't believe you? Show me a passport. Yeah. I'm 3 meters tall, 85 years old, and born in Uganda. Says it right here. But for me, actually, the biggest downside of being tall is that I also have a fear of heights. A lot of people find it funny. They come up to me when I tell them, go like, "Oh, what? You're afraid of heights? That's so funny because you're so tall and you're such a great height. Aren't you afraid the entire time because you're such a great height?" I was like, "Oh, yeah." I just walk away most of the time. Or I like to pretend, it's a new thing, I like to pretend that I hadn't realized it before myself. Like, oh what, shit, you're right, I'm so tall, oh no, I'm so afraid, no, what have you done to me now? And then usually they walk away. The thing is, bless you, the thing is that, improvisation. Yes. The thing is, I'm mostly afraid of falling to my death from a great height. That's what it's all about, you know, or dropping my phone from great height, which I think is even worse, actually. Mostly because I think if I drop my phone from a great height, I try to catch it, fail miserably, and then fall after my phone, and then you're dead on the floor and with a broken phone. So that's double trouble. Nobody likes that. Now the thing is, like, I live on the 4th floor, which means that every time I go out to hang out my laundry on the balcony, I look just like my mom, because I get really scared. So I just start shaking uncontrollably when I'm hanging it up, and I look like some weird housewife with Parkinson's. So my mom, really. I still don't know if the joke is more horrible or not, if my mom would actually have Parkinson's. But she's coming to visit later, so we're gonna find out. Yeah. The people then, they ask me, like, and I think some of you think it as well, like, okay, you're afraid of heights, then why do you hang up your laundry on the balcony? Why not just inside? Well, because I'm Dutch. And much like in the UK, I think, when the sun shines in the Netherlands, we have to make optimal use of it. Because we never know when it might go away again. So I make use, and some people, they get really excited about going swimming, or they want to go barbecue. I get really excited about hanging up my motherfucking laundry, and how fast it's going to dry. And as soon as I hung it up, I go outside and I worry the entire time if it's going to rain or not. And of course it's the Netherlands, which is like a flat-ironed version of Scotland. So of course it's going to rain later. And when it rains, I remind myself of my mom again, like as a youngest son, because it just goes to show that just like her, I never learn from my mistakes. Yeah. All right. But this is my show. And with that, I mean, this is what the show's going to be like. This was not the end of it. No. It's not a 10-minute show. I saw some of you going like, oh, thank fuck, that's the end of the show. Good. No, just because I want to point out, like, yeah, the theme of my show is fears, and like I'm going to talk about my fears for the most time, but I'm not afraid of so much stuff that I can fill 15 minutes with it. So I tell all the weird, random stories as well, because I like that. However, I did do some research for the show. So I looked up some other fears that people have, and I want to share my favorites with you. Hopefully by the end of the festival, I will know this from the top of my head. First off, there's allodoxaphobia, which is a fear of opinions. And it's actually also known as a fear of loud and obnoxious Americans. You know the type, Trump voters. There is calligenophobia, which is a fear of beautiful women, which to me actually just sounds like high school. There is phobophobia, which is a fear of phobias. I don't know how that works, because then you have a phobia yourself, but you're afraid of phobia, so aren't you afraid of yourself the entire? It's very confusing. There's barophobia, which is a fear of gravity, which I don't understand, because without gravity we'd be crashing into the sun. But these people would rather have that happen than just live normal lives. And finally, my favorite is sesquipedalophobia, which is a fear of long words. Don't even need to write a joke for that. That's just some asshole who made that up. Actually, I became an uncle, by the way, 6 years ago. There's also no need to clap for that or cheer, because I was not involved in the process of becoming an uncle. I'm not from Alabama, we're not this kind of family. I share a lot with my brother, not his girlfriend. And I do have this amazing little niece right now, and she's really cute and funny, and every time I see her, it just reminds me that I need to buy condoms. Because I'm not ready to have kids yet. That's just where I'm at in life. Like, if I had a kid right now, I will purposely make the little kid fat. just so we could do a family Halloween costume with me as Han Solo, my girlfriend as Leia, and our kid as a little Jabba the Hutt. So I don't think that's a good idea. And I tried babysitting on my niece. I tried babysitting, but it just goes wrong. Because it ends up with watching Netflix, eating pizza, and loads of crying, and then whatever my niece is doing. And I was dropping her off, driving her home on the highway, when out of nowhere, my niece said to me, "Wow, Uncle Jeroen, you sure are great at driving for someone without a driver's license." 6 years old, already sounds like a mom. I was like, well, I have to stay calm. So I was like, well, thanks, I guess, but I do have a driver's license, actually. Well, I don't believe you. Like, well, but I do. Well, no, you don't. But I do. No, you don't. Well, but I do have a driver's license. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. Well, I do have a driver's license. I'm going to show you. I'm going to prove it. And you're going to look real stupid. And I'm like, here, driver's license, in your face. She just looked at me and said, "Oh, well, then you need to practice some more." And I couldn't argue with that, because my face was being smushed in by the airbag at the moment. And I know how important parents are to a kid, that's why I know I'm not ready. Because I've read online that the way you talk to your kids directly decides what they sound like as an adult. Which is why I always sound so disappointed. And I don't want to make the same mistakes that my parents made. I was 5 years old, my dog had just died, and my dad came up to me, said, "Hey Jeroen, hey, come here. You know your dog Lucky, right? She was getting old. So what we did is we sent her to a nice farm with all kinds of other dogs that she could play with." I was like, "Oh really? That sounds so nice. Yeah, it's like a really nice farm with lots of other dogs." And then she got there, and they shot her. I was 5 years old, and I'm still afraid of farms. Which is called fundophobia. Look it up. And even though, my parents didn't always do the best job, I think I turned out alright. You guys might disagree by now, I wouldn't blame you. But I think I did okay, because I managed somehow to get a really amazing girlfriend. Yes, I was surprised as well, actually. And she's great, everything works in our relationship. With no trust issues, because I know she'll never leave me, because handcuffs. Communication is great as well, we have one of those mirrors on the ceiling above our bed, but with a line drawn in the middle, so I can point out to her when she's on my side of the fucking bed. Which resulted in us also having a ceiling, or a mirror above the couch. And the main thing about my girlfriend is that she gets my sense of humor, and she's very funny herself. While my ex-girlfriend, for example, is German. Yeah. And me being Dutch, she being German, there's already some awkward history there together of the two countries, World Cup of '74, for example. And my current girlfriend is English, so that's not a problem. Although that's one thing, and that's that both England and the Netherlands were quite the champions at colonization. So we do have to be careful that when we go out on double dates, we don't go on any double dates with people from the following countries: India, Indonesia, Curacao, Bonaire, Suriname, Singapore, Kenya, Ghana, Somalia, and Uganda. And especially the last one I think is weird, because I'm from Uganda, but... So we're not ready for kids yet, but we do want to have kids at some point. So what we did is we started talking about kids' names, because there's no harm in that, or so I thought. Because she wants an everyday normal name that you hear all the time. Something simple, like Simon, or Garfunkel. Oh, that's the fire alarm, we're all gonna die. But I wanted something more interesting, something unusual. So I thought, let's name our kid Cough. I suggested, okay, what if it's a boy? We call him Ahmed. Because then they have like a tall, white, blonde Dutch guy called Jeroen Bloemhoff. And I think that's hilarious. She didn't think it was funny. She got mad actually. So I had to make it right to her. So I suggested to her that, okay, what if it's a girl? We'll call her after the Dutch word for flower, which is bloom. So like, oh, that's so nice. I like that. Until I added, of course, that then her name will be Bloemhoff, and people will think she's a stutter. And then I had to sleep on the couch again. And I couldn't get my cough medicine for a month. So in the Netherlands, I grew up in Rotterdam. Anyone here from outside the Netherlands familiar with Rotterdam by any chance? Outside of that, because that's cheating. You guys have heard of it. I know. Anyone have heard of it? From yeah, you. Where do you know Rotterdam from?
It's not song, right?
It's in the. I've heard it the other day, like in the Liverpool song or something.
I think it's the beautiful city.
I mean, it is a beautiful city. I mean, don't get me wrong on that. It's actually way more beautiful than Amsterdam. And anyone who disagrees with that has a problem with me. Okay. No, I'm from Rotterdam, and a lot of great neighborhoods in Rotterdam, but I grew up in a neighborhood that was a bit of a bad neighborhood. Most people thought at least, because some people did think it was a good neighborhood. Mostly burglars. Were just troublesome as a teenager, because I just got really afraid of burglars, and I was, obsessed with it. Like at night, I would just lie awake, listening intensely if I could hear a burglar or not. Never heard a burglar, so that was a good thing. I did hear my parents having sex in the other room. Preferred the burglar, to be honest, because my insurance covers that. They don't cover therapy. But I got really, I got weird dreams of it as well. Like, I would just dream that I was lying in bed, and a burglar would enter my room, and I'd make eye contact, and slowly creep closer. And I would just lie there, frozen in bed, as the burglar pulled away the sheets, and grab onto me, but not in a way you'd expect a burglar to grab you. And I wake up very confused. Because being a teenager is already very confusing, but just throw in some weird burglary sex dreams in there and it gets really confusing. And I was struggling with it for a long time, until I made an important realization. And that's that burglary, just like with doctors and with lawyers, can also be performed by women. That's what we all thought here that the burglar was a guy, right? Let's be real, but I think I'm a feminist, because my girlfriend makes me. I think that women can make really good burglars as well. It's not just a man's profession. Hell, in my experience, most women will be better at it, actually. Because I'm used to them taking shit from me all the time anyway. My self-respect, my dignity, my will to live, not my virginity, because that was my uncle, but that's another story. But it helped me, it turned out right, okay, it's a woman, and I started having these great sexual fantasies, and it got me over my fear. So there's always a bit of an advice to people in here I give, if you're afraid of something, try turning it into a sexual fear. As long as you're not afraid of little kids. Then it goes horribly wrong. Yeah. Ooh. How about, okay, let's do a quick test. If you're enjoying the show so far, stay quiet. Yes, it always works. I mean, one time there was a guy when I asked it, he just went, boo! Which was crushing. No, I mentioned my girlfriend before, and I know things are going great because we recently went on a week-long camping trip without killing each other. And the reason we didn't kill each other is because we have a great relationship, we love each other, we communicate, and neither of us could make it look like an accident. But it was a lot of fun, but during the trip to France, we actually did almost get murdered. The suspense in the room, can you feel it? What happened next? Oh, I'm gonna tell you. We were on our way back to the Netherlands, last stop on a campsite, middle of nowhere in France, little village. We get on a remote campsite, we're the only ones there, besides the couple who runs it. And it's all great fun. We're like, oh, it's privacy, it's beautiful nature, beautiful weather, everything's fine. until it got dark. Because then we realized we're a young couple on holiday in the middle of France, middle of nowhere. On a remote campsite, we're by ourselves. There's just this middle-aged French couple here. We're sleeping in our flimsy tent. This is a horror movie. And we got really scared. Like, and my girlfriend asked me, like, "Hey, Jeroen, I'm scared. Are you scared too?" Hoping that it would calm her down. But I was like, "No, fuck, I'm scared too. Fuck." And it's like, "Well, you're scared, now I'm even more scared. Well, you're scared, now I'm even more scared." We both got more and more scared. And it just went horribly wrong. And we started thinking of ways to defend ourselves. Because we were trying to listen if you could hear the footsteps of like a crazy ex-murderer. And I don't know how those footsteps are different from regular footsteps, but still we listened very carefully. And we need to defend ourselves. So what I did is I went up to the car and I got a small knife, like this big. So if the guy came up to me with an axe this big, I could stab him. Didn't work, of course. I just started shaking uncontrollably again, so I looked like my mom on the campsite. And my girlfriend was now afraid that I was going to kill her for some reason. Which I didn't, of course, because trying making look that like an accident. And we came up with plans, and I wanted to keep watch, you know. She sleeps for an hour, I stay awake, I sleep for an hour, she stays awake, which doesn't work at all, because the only thing that would actually result in is that if we do get attacked, I can wake her up just in time so we get murdered together. And what she wants to do, she wanted to drive off straight back to the Netherlands. And I was like, "No, we can't do that because they will hear us, and it's very rude to leave in the middle of the night." Yes, I was worried about upsetting the people, but I also thought they were going to kill us. So in the end, we compromised. I know you are here. There's the couple here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you compromise in your relationship?
All the time.
Congratulations, you're the first couple who agree on the fact that they compromise. Normally the guy goes, "Yes, we compromise," and the woman, "No, we never compromise. He thinks we do, but we never compromise." So congratulations. Yeah. We also compromised by sleeping in the car. Because our theory was that a car is more difficult to break into than a tent. And it worked. We slept safe and sound. At 5 o'clock in the morning, the sun started to shine again, so we went back into the tent. Because of course, murderers only get out when it's dark. And we then went back to Holland, and that's the story of how I almost got murdered, but not really. Well, I do like to think that somewhere out there in France there's still this middle-aged guy going, "Sacre bleu, c'est gars sauvé, on est train to sleep in the car, it's my only weakness." Ah, a man can dream, right? A man can dream. Yeah, I'm really happy with my girlfriend, especially because it wasn't I wasn't always good with women. I know, shocking, right? Yeah. No, like in high school, actually, a lot of my guy friends, what they did is they made jokes that I was ugly and I was stupid and I would never get a girlfriend. And then the girls at my high school, they proved them right. So high school was difficult for me, but in college that all changed because in college something magical happened. In college, a lot of drunk girls made drunken mistakes with me. And it gave me a confidence boost, which sounds really pathetic, I know, but it still worked. I got more confident, I got more relaxed with women. You know, and got to the point where I had to reject someone. And I've never had to do that before, it was so weird. You know, I just came like, "Hey," it was like after one of my shows, and she said, "Well, like, hey, actually I have to leave. And I'm going to take the metro over that way. And what way do you have to go? Because I also maybe we would like travel together." I was like, "I don't want to do this." I'm like, "Oh wait, you have to go. Do you have to go that way?" Well, that's because I have to go that way. And I just started walking immediately without saying anything, shortly realizing I did have to go that way. So like, and a normal person would just go back and admit their mistake, or maybe walk slowly. But that was too easy for me. What I did is I took a right turn, I walked a bit, and then took another right turn. Didn't go to the same metro station because that's too easy. No, I took a bus that took me to a tram station. From the tram, then I took a tram to a different metro station. I took a metro to a train station of another town. Then I took the train back into the same town, but it was a different part of town. I didn't recognize it. And over there, I met a guy named Pedro, and he gave me a ride. And we first had to do a drug deal in Germany. Went horribly wrong, so we had to fix it. We had to go hide for a moment before we could go back into Amsterdam. And I was there 3 days later at my girlfriend's apartment, and she just told me, like, where the fuck have you been? Well, there was this girl flirting with me, so I had to reject her. So I think you can say I handled that pretty smoothly. Yeah. So the biggest fear that I had that kickstarted this show actually is I have a fear of flying. Are there any other people in here with fear of flying by any chance? Only one. Well, you're right, because it's terrifying. And I don't know, maybe you recognize this, but for me, a lot of people, what they do is they try to comfort me by saying that you shouldn't worry, because statistically, it's more dangerous to ride your bicycle than to go flying. I'm like, well, thank you. Now I'll never ride my bicycle again. Plus, a plane carries more risk with it. Like, when's the last time on the news that you heard that there were terrorists in Syria riding on bikes to blow up buildings that way? Or that there was a bicycle crash with 50 deaths? Or that bicycles are lost in the Atlantic Ocean and now people are looking for them. It just doesn't happen. So I went to see a therapist instead of one of my friends, because they know more than my stupid friends. And she told me that I needed to face my fear. Because at the moment, I was displaying a fight or flight reaction. And I was choosing flight. It's like, no, the whole problem is I'm not choosing flight. And no, that's not the worst joke of the show. There will be one that's worse. But I booked a ticket, I booked a ticket to New York. I got really nervous when I had to go on the plane because I couldn't turn back anymore. It got so bad that like my knees were getting weak, my arms felt really heavy, my palms sweaty, and I had an upset stomach from my mom's spaghetti, which is a joke for the young people. And inside the airplane, I decided I needed a distraction to just get my mind off of things. So I decided to talk to the girl sitting next to me. Beautiful girl. And it was alright for me to do that at the time because I was single back then. And we had a click because she was also afraid of flying. Which at first was comforting, but then we just made each other more scared again, like the whole thing going on. But I noticed as we talked that she was funny and smart and ambitious, and she felt that I was funny, which is really important to me. I felt like, okay, you know what? Girls like spontaneous guys, right? Right? Yep, yeah, some, okay. It's a live audience, okay? I can see your reaction. You know that, right? Alright. And I thought to myself, no, it could be really nice asking her out at the airplane, because you never know. Maybe love is in the air. Yeah, that was the worst one. Yeah. Or was it? No, it wasn't the worst one. I think it was the worst one. But I asked her out, and I just had one piece of advice for people in here who might want to try the same thing. It can work, but just don't do it in the first hour of a 9-hour flight. Outside of the story, I wasn't afraid of flying at that moment because I didn't care anymore if it would crash or not. So there is that. Okay. For the next part of the show, I'm gonna drink my water. I'm gonna get a little bit weird. Are you guys okay with me being a little bit weird for a moment?
Yes.
You're good, because if not, then you just have to suffer through it. Because if I could go back in time and change history, I would decide to not kill Hitler. Instead, I would get him into art school. Because that way you prevent the Second World War and you save Hitler's life. Because he doesn't commit suicide, which he did because of the war. Although he turned into an artist, and of course a lot of artists are depressed, so maybe he would still commit suicide, but you can't blame it on me, I think. And I think it would be great. I would want to see like how Hitler, the artist, would turn out. And maybe he would become a great painter and get his own Hitler wing in the Berlin Museum of Art. Or personally, I think he would become a sculptor and create like little statues of Jesus, the King of the Jews, dying on the cross, over and over again. Because What or not, Hitler would still fucking hate Jews, I think. But it got me thinking, like, okay, Hitler the artist, we have no World War, but a lot of great art from Hitler. But on the other hand, thanks to the Second World War, we have a lot of great art. Now just think about it, with Schindler's List, Saving Private Ryan, with Anne Frank's Diary, with Call of Duty, like, all thanks to Hitler, in a way. You know, so next time you're playing Call of Duty, and some 11-year-old kid is saying that he fucked your mom, just think to yourself, like, wow, this would not have been possible without Hitler. Thanks, Hitler. Are there any vegetarians in the audience today? Oh, the three in a row, that's wonderful. Eeny, meeny, miny, you. I'm not gonna make fun of you, don't worry. Just one simple question. Why are you vegetarian?
Because out of principle.
Out of principle. A lot of people are out of principle. I never liked my principal in high school, so I didn't do it. A lot of people, they say that the reason they're vegetarian is because they don't want to kill or hurt any innocent animals. And I get that, but on the other hand, how do you know that they're innocent? And would it make a difference? You know, would it make a difference if you get a steak on your plate and you knew that the cow had committed murder? And because you don't know the entire story. Because for all you know, that cow was born in a bad neighborhood on a poor farm where they were constantly shooting all dogs left and right. And then she lost both her parents at an early age and she had to struggle to survive with her brother. So she started drug dealing, because we all know cows love grass. And the drug dealing started to get worse and worse, and then the heavier stuff, the good stuff, the angel dust, the milk powder. And she builds an empire for herself. She makes a name for herself. She gets known as the drug kingpin of the farm, Betsy Montana. And of course, with a lot of power comes a lot of responsibility, but also jealousy and rivalry. So the chickens start invading on her territory. So she has to send a message. So what she does is she cuts off the head of a horse and puts it inside the chicken den. But of course, when the chickens, they have none of that shit. So what they do is they get revenge by killing Betsy's brother, Tony. And it gets this all-out war between the chickens and the cows, and Betsy eventually gets involved in a drive-by egg throwing, where 5 chickens get murdered by their own unborn kids, and it gets so bad that Betsy has to go into hiding. She goes into hiding underneath the farm, where she keeps a journal that later, years later, becomes a best-selling novel for some reason, but eventually she still gets found out, and she gets called by the pigs, the police. And she gets sent to the slaughterhouse. She gets death penalty for crimes that she had to commit because of her upbringing, her environment. She just had to commit those crimes to survive and make something of herself. And she'll end up on your plate as a guilty steak. And you have to ask yourself, does it make a difference if the cow was guilty or not? I wouldn't really care, actually. The one thing, though, I would want to get a discount for that steak. For a guilty cow, because I'm still Dutch, and we Dutch people like discounts, and I like it that only the Dutch people are laughing at that. That way you know that it's true. I'm just gonna check how we're doing for time. Always have plenty of time, I think. We can just edit this out later in the video. I think. I hope. Sure. All right. Are you guys still enjoying yourself?
Yes.
Yeah. Or are you guys just too afraid to say no to that question? It's alright. I want to do something fun. I did it 2 days ago, and went okay-ish. I want to try some improvisation. So I'm going to give you guys the opportunity to just shout out a random word, and I'm going to try and make jokes about it in the moment that I haven't thought of before. Does that sound good to you? Good, because again, you have no choice in it anyway, so hit me with your suggestions.
Moist.
Moist. Oh, that's a good one. Moist. I don't get, but that's the thing, I don't get the hate for the word moist. Are there any people who hate this word? Well, too bad. Because no, I think more because it's a bit like damp, but not the same, and we need a word that's for in between. And I just think it's also just a great word, I think, for really bad erotic fiction. you know? Like she was, the maiden on the pirate ship was very moist. And what would our society be without such art, you know? So I think we should be thankful for the word moist. I think. Yeah, okay, okay, other words than moist. This is how awkward and struggling it's going to be. But I want to try some more. Other words. Topics, anything. Silence, that's a good suggestion. Silence is great. Only downside of silence is that you then hear your own thoughts, which are often scary. And that's the number one leading cause to depression and suicide. So if you suffer from silence where you hear your own thoughts the entire time, please get help. That turned really dark in the out of nowhere, which is maybe why I shouldn't do improvised stuff. Silence, the worst enemy of comedy. I think, like, a lot of times in comedy they think silence is bad, but then how did they do it in silent comedy films? Aha, yeah. Doesn't get better than it, does it? Who wants me to continue the conversation? That's what I thought. Okay, we'll go. All right. One more chance.
Do football.
Football.
I think a Dutch person in Scotland talking about football is pretty funny for an English.
Oh. See, and this is why I wanted to have bouncers in this venue. Okay. I wanted to get like funny suggestions, not depressing ones. Oh, football. What can I? What's the? Yeah, there's so many jokes to make about football, and Dutch football is a joke right in itself right now. I mean, with Louis van Gaal, for fuck's sake, that's a walking joke right there. I think he's the Trump of football, pretty much. Just give him like some orange makeup and a new wig, and you pretty much have Trump right there. Although he's worse. Is he better at English or worse at English than Trump? Actually, I wouldn't know. And we used to be really good at football. I don't know what happened. Like the 70s, 60s, 80s, 90s even, we were really good, and now we're fucking shit. You know what? I'm gonna blame Brexit. Yeah, we're shit because of Brexit. Thanks a lot, people here who voted leave. I don't think there are any people here who voted leave in the referendum. No, and if you did, then you're probably staying quiet, which is probably for the best as well. I wouldn't blame you. Alright, so that concludes our little part of improvisation. We got through it alright, okay. I now feel closer to you guys. You might not like that, but I don't care. Back to the written material. Like I said, I'm from Rotterdam, bad neighborhoods, which means I'm also afraid to walk by myself late at night. Because let's be real, I can't defend myself. Okay, if I walk, like, what I have to hope for is that someone sees that I'm tall, concludes that means I'm good at fighting, and therefore not fuck with me. Because if someone thinks I'm good at fighting and therefore a challenge, they're gonna be really disappointed. Because I go down quicker than Neymar. You know, there's your football joke. And I tried thinking of like, okay, what could I do in case I get attacked or mugged or something? My first thought was, like, my first instinct was to maybe try running away, because I'm used to running away from my problems. But it wouldn't really work, because I'm training for a marathon, and that's long distance, not sprinting. So we'll just have to hope that the mugger doesn't catch up to me and gets tired before I get tired. And I run straight home like that, with a mugger behind me the entire time. But recently I actually did get mugged here in Edinburgh, which was shocking. And the thing that I did in the end is, like my Dutch instinct kicked in. And I did the one thing that we Dutch people are famous for. Do you get any ideas what that might be? Cheese? No, I didn't have it on me. Or would like a good distraction? Cheese, go! Or just sit into bed with a wheel of cheese. No, not cheese.
Protect your money.
Protect my money. I mean, in the end, that is what I did, but not entirely. We'll get back to that, actually. Ooh, suspense.
Running clocks.
Running clocks. No, if I had clocks, I would just use it as a weapon. Because they're made of solid wood. It really hurts. No, I used the one thing that our Dutch people are internationally very famous for. Racism. Okay, not racism. Sorry, I made a mistake all the time. Trading. Which historically actually is the same fucking thing in our case. Just ask all the black people in the Netherlands. Um, I did it one time. The joke worked, and I need to not make it anymore. Okay. No, but I started to trade. I tried making the best trade deal in the world. I was getting mugged. I was like, okay, hold on, okay, you're mugging me. That's fine. But before you like stab me and take all my stuff, let me make you an offer. First, I want to give you my phone. But I want to remove my contacts and my pictures and social media accounts first, and also remove the fingerprint security lock, so you don't have to cut off my thumb. I would really appreciate that. Second of all, I actually want to make you a deal. I want to give you my business cards. I'm a comedian. I'm available for parties, weddings, and guided meditations. Just give me a call. Finally, I know you want my wallet. How about I just give you the money that's in it? That's like £60. You can have it, that's no problem, but let me keep my wallet. Because if you steal my wallet, that's really inconvenient for me, and that's very useful for you. And then like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna use my ID card? You're a tiny old Asian woman. You look nothing like me, that's never gonna work. So you better watch out there. Yeah. I didn't actually get mugged, but I tell that story, that joke, because this is the Free Fringe. So you guys came in here for free, and I don't have to pay for the venue. And you don't have to pay to enter, to come see my show, but you do have to pay to leave. No, that's how it works. It's more, it's still expensive at the festival, and I would appreciate it if you like the show, then make a donation. There's a bucket outside, I will be standing next to it. It will be orange, nationalism, and it's also very optimistically big. Just want to point that out. So if you like the show, just pay like maybe half of what you pay for a normal show. Like I think the show is worth like £5. If you don't have any change, I actually also take cards. If I can get it to work. This day didn't work, but we're gonna try it anyway. And just tell your friends about it if you enjoyed the show. Like share it on social media. That's how we get audiences in. And if you didn't like it, then shut the fuck up. Okay? But mum's the word. All right. I've been thinking a lot about the afterlife lately. More specifically, about ghosts. Because I don't get it that when in ghost stories, like a person gets murdered, stays at the location of the murder, and then haunts that location as a ghost. Well, I think, first of all, that's really depressing. That's like the self-harm version of being a ghost. But also, being a ghost, that's the perfect time to go travel the world. You have no more responsibilities. You don't have to take time off of work. You can go whenever you want. You don't have to buy plane tickets to Africa. You can just fly yourself, because you're a ghost. Hell, Africa, you can go to fucking space. Like, what's gonna happen? You're gonna freeze or choke to death? No, you're already dead. You're a ghost. So if you want to be an astronaut, I said, fuck NASA, fuck Elon Musk, just kill yourself and go to space. And if there's one thing I want you to take away from this show, it's that piece of advice. And like besides space, there's so many places on Earth right now that we can't go to because they're too dangerous. But as a ghost, you don't have that risk. So you can suddenly go to, let's say, Syria and just enjoy the nature that's out there. Or you can wander the slums of Rio de Janeiro. You could, as a ghost, you can even go visit an American high school. My favorite part about that joke is that it's topical all year long. Which is also really sad when you think about it. And when I was thinking about ghosts and making my bucket list for when I'm a ghost and places to travel to as a ghost, I realized that all of my fears that I have, my fear of flying, my fear of muggers, burglars, crazy ex-murderers, they all boil down to one big fear actually, and that's the fear of death. And at first I was like, oh well, that's good to know, but it still didn't help me much. And a friend tried to help me with it, and he said that, well, you shouldn't be afraid of death, because being dead is the same as before you were born. And do you remember anything of that? It's like, no. Well, there you have it. Isn't that comforting? It's like, no! That isn't comforting. I don't want nothing. I want to do stuff. I want to enjoy life. I want to go with my girlfriend, hang out with my friends, perform in front of 4 people at the Fringe Festival. I want to do amazing. I just want to travel the world, but as a living person, and I want to like be great at comedy someday, and I just want to live my life. And then it hit me that I'm not so much afraid of death as much as that I really enjoy living life. And that was a comforting thought. That's the end of my show. Thank you very much. Enjoy your festival.